had a great weekend. I hope you're having a great day. I'm trying something a little different than what we usually do. I'm gonna kind of walk you through one of those math videos that we've seen before in class because today it's gonna be a little tough for me to explain unless I have something for you to like really see instead of me trying to draw it or something. And then after this, I'll show you some things you have at home that can actually help you with this assignment. Okay, so let's start. Let's go over each word. Okay, we have our 3D shapes, and we have our cone. We have a sphere, which is a ball, right? And a cone is like an ice cream cone. We have a cube, which is like, a block. And then we have a cylinder, which is like a can of soda. All right, so let's move on. And so we're going to be talking about flat surfaces, okay? So every solid figure has well, not every, but most of the figures that we're working with have at least one flat surface, except for one special shape that we're using. So let's continue. So if we look at this cylinder, see how it's round all the way? All the way, the sides are all rounded. But look at the front. See how it's flat? And then look at the back. See how it doesn't continue being all round looking? And that is also a flat surface back there. So we can see that this cylinder has two flat surfaces. All right, if we look at this cube, how many flat surfaces do you think it has? Think about like a block or the dice that we've used in the classroom, right? So we can count around the sides. Ready? 1, 2. There's actually one on the back. 3. And there's actually one over here that we can't see. That's 4. So that's 4 going around the sides. And then we have our top, which is 5. And then the very bottom, because see how it's not moving? It can't roll away. So that means there's one on the bottom. So that is 6. There are 6 flat surfaces on a cube. All right. What about a rectangular prism? Well, it has the same thing, the same amount of flat surfaces. So if you ever forget how many flat surfaces that a rectangular prism has, just think to yourself, it's exactly the same number as the cube. The cube and the rectangular prism have the exact same number of flat surfaces. All right, in this cone, well, we've worked with cones before. We know that they're very round on the sides and they come to a point, but the bottom is flat. So if you took an ice cream cone, you could have it stand straight up and down so the point is sticking straight up towards the sky. So there's one flat surface on a cone. Okay, now this is that special shape I was talking to you about, a sphere. How many flat surfaces does a sphere have? It has none because it can just roll around everywhere. It has nothing flat to stand on, which makes a sphere very special. Okay, so we talked about flat surfaces. Now we're going to talk about something. It's going to sound like a super fancy word. Don't get scared of this fancy word. I'm going to tell you exactly what it means. Vertices, this orange word up here, it says vertices. That is a fancy word that just means a corner. That is it. That's all it means. When they say how many vertices does a cube have, they're saying how many corners does this 3D shape have. That's all. That's all they're saying. So don't panic. Don't get worried, because you guys can count corners pretty easy. And they're going to show us how many corners these two shapes have. Now, do you think they're going to have the same number of vertices or a different number? I want you to take a guess and keep that guess in your head, okay? Do you think these two shapes are going to have the same number of corners? Yes or no? All right. Hopefully you have a guess in your head, and we're going to continue. Okay. Look at all these circles. Oh my gosh. Woo. All right. So let's check this out. So a rectangular prism, let's count these out. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But guess what? There's actually one more we can't see back here that they're blocking because these shapes are 3D. So it's actually 8. 8 vertices. And what about this cube? Do you think it also has 8 vertices? Well, let's see. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then again, there's one more that's hidden in that very, very back corner we can't see. That's 8. So they both have 8 vertices. And they both have 6 flat surfaces. So for these two shapes, when they say how many flat surfaces, they're going to have the same number. It's 6. And when they say how many vertices, which are corners, they're also going to have the same number, which is 8. All right, so let's keep going. And see, right here, they're telling us there's 8 vertices. Right here, there's 8. I'm saying that the cube also has 8, so I'm not telling any fibs. I'm not lying to you guys. They have the same number of corners. All right, what about this cone? How many vertices or corners do you think this cone has? Okay, you have a guess in your head? Keep that guess. Now, there's no flat surfaces that meet all together. That's what they were saying about the vertices, that you need flat surfaces to meet together to make these corners. But this cone doesn't have any of these flat surfaces to make these corners. But it still has one vertex. So it doesn't have vertices, which means more than one corner. It has just one vertex right there at the top of the cone. And then how many flat surfaces? Man. Okay, cylinder and a sphere have any flat surfaces that meet? Do they have the flat surfaces that meet together to make these points, these corners? No, they don't. See, the sphere is like a ball. A ball has no flat surfaces that meet to make these corners. And a cylinder, it has some flat surfaces, but they don't touch each other to make a corner. So they don't have any vertices. These two shapes are special. They have no corners, okay? And now we learned all about flat surfaces and vertices. So let's jump into our assignment, okay? All right, before we jump into doing any other work, I just want to show you guys something that might help you out if it helps you to, have something in front of you to hold and count and stuff like that. Because when we do adding and subtraction, we always had a number line. For these solid shapes, we haven't really had anything. But if you look around your house, you will find some things you can use to help you through your homework. All right, so you guys know what this is? It's a tissue box. And guess what shape a tissue box is? It's a cube. So it still has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. It still has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertices, right? So tissue boxes. I mean, not just for blowing your nose anymore. It's for math. Okay? So if you need to grab a tissue box from the living room to help you with this assignment, go for it. All right? If you have one of these tissue boxes, guess what? It's a rectangular prism. It still has all the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 sides, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertices. So, again, boxes of tissues, guys. Not just for blowing your nose anymore. It's for math. Go ahead, grab one if you want. If you have those. And then also, like we were saying before, can of soda, or as I like to drink, sparkly water. It's a cylinder, man. How many flat surfaces? 1, 2. There you go. Go grab a can of anything. Can of soup. if that helps you with your math homework. Go for it. And does this have any vertices? No, because it has no flat sides that meet each other to make those corners. There's no corners. All right, so I just want to show you guys that before we go any further. And for the next part, you're going to need your math workbook. Since we went through all these shapes, all the sides, all the corners, let's go right into this assignment. All right? That you should have open in your math workbooks. In that black workbook with the blue butterfly on it at the top, it says reteaching, and it has the numbers 15-7. That is the lesson we're on today. That is the lesson that talks about flat surfaces and vertices, which I'm very happy they have vertices with the word corners next to each other on this paper. I think that's super important that you guys just make that connection. A vertices or vertex is just a corner. That's it. They're giving it this fancy word. When you hear vertices, just think, boom, corner, done. No confusion. You guys got this. All right, and also the flat surfaces, which we already know about. And let's go down and do the first one together. Here's the cool thing. They're kind of giving you all the answers on this paper, because they're pointing to all these shapes that have all these corners. They have arrows pointing at every corner here for you to help you out, and the flat surfaces. So if you're ever confused at any point, look at the top of this page and it'll help you out. Or you can go get a box of tissues from mom and dad, and that can help you with some things. You know, if you have both kinds of boxes of tissues, or a can of soup, or a can of soda, something, that can help you out too. All right, let's see how they got the answer for number 1. They have a picture of a cube, and they're saying that there are 6 surfaces. Well, you have 1 here, right? 1. You have 2, 3. And then over here, there's actually a 4th one that we can't see. And over here, there's 5. And guess what else? It's sitting on 1. Boop. At the bottom, 6. So they are counting 6 flat surfaces. Remember, get yourself a tissue box or something. Or if you find something else around that is a square, has like a square shape, it's a cube, go ahead and feel free to use that too. All right, so it has 6 flat surfaces, but let me get rid of those, because I'm going to have to keep writing and I don't want anybody getting confused. Okay, so 6 flat surfaces, but then how many corners? Well, you know what? Let's circle these corners. Ready? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But don't forget about the ones that we can't see around the back. It would actually, if we had like an imaginary dotted line, it would actually be right here. Because there we go. Now that's cool. Improvising. Woo. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top. We have 4 at the bottom, which gives us 8 corners. So that's where they got this 8 from. All right. The next one we're going to do together also. I just want to make sure you guys really understand this before I have you try some on your own. All right. So the first column, we have the surfaces, and we're using a cone this time. And the cool thing about the cone shape is that we can they're letting us see through it a little bit. So how many flat surfaces does a cone have? Well, it's standing up and down, right? So that means it has at least 1 flat surface. So we write 1. And we can see that it's standing on that little circle. But then the corners, how many corners or vertices does this cone have? Well, let's circle the corners. Ready? 1. And that's it. We're done. We circled every corner already super quick. So how many corners? It has 1 corner. All right. Now for number 3, before I let you guys go try this on your own, I'm going to help you guys out just a smidge. Just a smidge. Make sure that we can kind of see back here. All right, so these all dots are the lines that we can't see from this side, but I want you guys to be able to count all the sides and corners, you know? Or if you have a tissue box, go ahead and use that to count up all the sides. Or if you just happen to memorize it, that's cool too. So for number 3 here, I'm going to let you guys try this one on your own. First, write down how many flat surfaces this rectangular prism has. And if you remember the little trick I told you during the very beginning of the video, you're probably looking at a different part on this page and you're going, boop, I got it. And you might already have it written down already. All right, if you need more time, go ahead and pause that video. But if not, we're going to go over this, okay? Let's go over the sides. So we can see right here that has, we're going to count around here first, from top all the way around side to the bottom and around. So it's 1, 2, 3, because I'm kind of trying to count the bottom. 4, 5. So we have the top, the back, the bottom, and this side, which is 6. There are 6 sides. I know this picture looks kind of confusing. Try to spruce it up a little bit. But you can kind of see without the numbers written there. See at the top 1, then side 2, then the bottom 3, and then the very back 4, and right here we have 5 on this end, and then 6 way over there. So there are 6 sides of a rectangular prism. And if you remember what I told you before, it's the same as the cube. The cube and the rectangular prism have the same amount of sides. All right. So now on your own, I want you to try try to tell me how many corners a rectangular prism has. Now remember, there's a special trick to this one too. Okay. So on your own, write down how many corners or vertices this rectangular prism has. If you need a little extra help, a little boost, you can, like I was saying before, box of tissues if you have it, or the top of the paper also points out to all the corners and stuff on every shape. All right, so I'll give you guys a couple seconds to write down how many corners this rectangular prism has. All right, I'm hoping that was enough time. If not, go ahead, hit that pause button again for the video. Pause it until you have your answer written down, and then hit play. But if you have your answer written down, let's go over this. All right, so if you remember my really simple trick that if you already know what a cube has, the cube has 8. Guess what? It's the same thing as for the rectangular prism. Same exact number. And maybe some of you are saying, no way, that's craziness. Well, that's fine, because we can just count the corners. That's why I did these dotted lines in the back, so we can see these, other corners we can't see from this angle. So let's go ahead and count the corners. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Or you can also think, well, if there's 4 corners on this side, there has to be 4 on the other side. We can't have 4 here and then not have 4 over here. That would just be craziness. But I also wanted to show you guys a way that we could, actually see it. So we have 4, and then plus 4, that's 8. So we still have 8 corners. Easy peasy. All right, next one I think is a lot more simple for you guys. I think you'll probably blast through this pretty easy. Number 4, what I would like for you to do in this first column, write down the number of how many flat surfaces a cylinder has. If you're a little unsure, look at the top of your paper. Or go get, that can of soup or can of soda or something to use as a visual aid. All right, I'll give you guys just a couple seconds. All right, I think that should have been enough time. If you need more time, go ahead and hit the pause button. If not, let's go ahead and go over these. All right, so when we look at this cylinder, we see a flat side over here. That's one. And it's also flat over here, so that would be two. Because remember, for a can, which is also a cylinder, you can stand it upright, so that way it's flat on top and bottom, right? Same thing when it's laying down, it just might look a little different. So we have one, two, we have two flat surfaces. Now, next part is the corners. How many corners does this special 3D shape have? Okay, I'll give you guys just a couple seconds. All right, I think that should have been long enough. If you need more time, hit the pause button. Hit that pause button if you need to. If you have your answer written down, let's go over it. All right, how many corners or vertices does this have? Does it have flat sides that meet like this? Are there flat sides that meet like that? Or even like this? No, it doesn't have anything like that. So it has 0 vertices, or we could say 0 corners, because it's not like this square or trapezoid. It's totally different. It's special. So there's a big 0 there. All right. Next, let's turn the page. We're going to go over your independent assignment, what you're going to do on your own today. I'm going to read through it for you, and then it's up to you to do it on your own, okay? For today, at the very top, remember, it's just the back of the paper you're working on. At the top, it says practice, and number 15-7, okay? Number 1, let's read it together. Which solid figure has 2 flat surfaces and 0 vertices? You're just circling the shape that only has 2 flat surfaces and no corners, okay? Number 2 says, which solid figure has 0 flat surfaces and 0 vertices? That's a very special shape. Now we're going to scroll down to number 3. All right, number 3 says, which solid figure has 6 flat surfaces and 8 vertices? Here's a hint. There is more than one answer. Do not just circle one, because it said solid figures. There's an S at the end right there. So don't just circle one. And then the last one is number 4. Mark the solid figure that answers the question. I have one flat surface. I have one vertex. Which solid figure am I? It's a little riddle. I'll read it one more time for you. I have one flat surface. I have one vertex. Which solid figure am I? All right, so when you're done, make sure mom and dad take a picture of this, send it to your teacher. If you have questions, get a hold of your teacher and ask them. They will be more than happy to answer it. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope to see you guys back next time. And as always, have a great day. See you guys later.